This next story goes by the name of Sacs. It's featured in Dark Peninsula Press's Negative Space Anthology. I am going to leave a link in the description of this video in case you want to check it out. It has some stories by some magnificent writers. I like this story. It is set against the backdrop of the Mexican Revolution. This one is a horror story. It's not for the faint of heart, so be warned. And before I give any other details and spoil the whole thing, let me tell you a story. Monday, October 23rd, 1911. Hell broke loose last night. The church's bell didn't toll at 9 and instead crumbled to the compass of cannon fire. Who dares attack like that on a Sunday? Nothing is sacred to those boundless, unfulfilled men. Didn't they achieve what they wanted? General Diaz is gone, but they keep on warring, trying to take it all. They hit us as cowards do, unannounced, by night, hiding their actions because deep within they know they are doing wrong. And I too, in time, have come to hate them. Federico was with us. He helped Dad load a small carriage with money and jewels and clothes and all other goods we could produce. It was the only one we had because, like every other weekend, Dad's brother had taken most horses and vehicles. He uses them to stock his store for the whole week. Federico and Dad loaded as much as they could in as little time as possible and tied the carriage to the imposing black steed that remained in the stables. It wasn't fully trained, but it was all that remained. Without further ado, we fled. Mom had some food prepared for us for the road. The servants carrying the meal packages were on foot. We all were, actually. Not even Mom or my two little brothers could fit into the old carriage full of jewels and other precious objects. We walked slowly, carefully, without trouble, until the cannon fire resumed. The sound upset us all, but especially the steed. Dad tried to calm it down. His efforts were in vain. The horse twitched, reared for a moment, and rushed towards the unknown. It must have been its survival instinct because it hauled the heavy carriage like it was nothing, as if it were made of paper. Dad was too close to the animal, so he was ran over. One of the solid wheels went right over his left foot. The servants also ran amok. Each and every one of them escaped in that moment, taking only their lives and whatever they had in their hands with them. Food, mostly. People that had been with us for years forgot everything we had done for them and decided to go their own way. How ungrateful. Federico managed to snatch one of the packages from one of the maids, but that was it. He, Dad, Mom, my two little brothers, and me were left alone a distance too short from the town, too close to those savages. We didn't have many options, as we wouldn't even have been able to carry that far, him being the robust man he is. So we decided to take shelter here, in the abandoned house at the town's outskirts. The one where, for as long as I can remember, nobody has lived in. The one they say is haunted. The only thing I could see last night were the crumbling walls of the main hall, lit by the belligerent flashes that disturbed the darkness. I'm not sure, but I think nobody could sleep until after midnight. The cold filtered through every crack and fissure, and the air had a very distinct and heavy smell. It must be the smell of fear that presses on our chests. Nobody could sleep until, exhausted, we succumbed to the weariness. The sun is up now. Its light is not abundant, since the rays have little space to go through, and it wasn't it who woke us up. It was the march. The footsteps of those so-called revolutionaries blare in my ears, even when they are nothing more than a deathly murmur. They pay no attention to this abandoned place, enthralled by the promise of the booty they'll steal from the town's houses. But their walk fills me with dread. Dad's foot has swollen up. He says it's nothing, that he can keep going. Either way, no one wants to leave the safety of our hiding place today. What a dirty, horrible place, but it's our refuge. If not fondness, we must have respect for it. The package Federico managed to take away from that maid doesn't have a lot in it, but it will be enough to get us through the night and to have breakfast tomorrow. He also offered to go out in search of more food and any amount of money and jewelry he could get, but I convinced him to wait out this day. Something's giving me a terrible feeling. It must be the march of those savages outside. I think we must wait for their bloodlust to calm a bit more. Should they find us right now, any of us, I don't even want to think what they'd do to us. Amongst what we found in our pockets are a couple of watches, some coins, a couple keys, and a couple handkerchiefs. I've brought along this little diary where I am now recounting our ordeal. Mom still has her embroidery apron on, some needles of different sizes, a couple of thread spools. How invaluable things these are. After having it all, these remains are nothing more than life's practical joke. It was close to 2 in the afternoon when we woke up. Now, after taking stock and exploring this house and remaining silent for a good while, it's almost 7. I can write thanks to the last rays of sunshine that entered this place, and God, how I wished I didn't have to tell what we found in one of the rooms. I wish I didn't, but I must. First, the place where we are. It's the main hall, and there's not much to see. In fact, there is nothing out of the filthy door and the decadent walls. It's amazing that the roof hasn't fallen, and I pray that it doesn't do so over our heads. To the right, there's a sort of dining room. The only thing it has is a big and rotten wooden table with only 3 legs. Nobody wanted to touch it. To the left, there's a sort of patio. It's obvious that its roof was built quickly, as an amendment. It's poorly done, with clay bumps all over it. I guess it was in the open for a while. It even has a sink, the type you build to give water to the birds. Only God knows why they decided to put our roof. Behind the sink there was something. There was someone. I had never seen a corpse so close, let alone one like that. Its skin, colored a disgusting ochre, seemed withered, dry. Its bones were marked as if they wanted to get out of their flesh prison, as if that thing hadn't eaten in a long, long time before it died. And still, the most chilling thing about it were its seams. Its mouth, its eyes, its nose, it was all sewn shut. They even folded its ears and sewn them to its head. What is that thing? Who could have tortured it so? God, I don't want to know. I want to stop thinking about it, and I want to leave this place as soon as possible. In front of the main hall, opposed to the house's only door, lies a narrow corridor with an old stairwell. Since it looks rotten and it lacks many steps, we decided not to explore upstairs. In that small corridor, however, we found a shovel and a pick. They may be of use later. We are about to have dinner now. We'll have it at the house's old dining room, and we will stay there to sleep. After finding that thing in the patio, I think we want to put as long a distance as possible between it and us. God, I really hope we can be on our way soon without further trouble or grim discoveries. Tuesday, October 24th, 1911. Today we did wake up early. We finished with most of the remaining food. We only left a couple of bites for the kids. We did the same with water. The canteen must have nothing more than a sip in it. Federico already left. He said he'd look for the black horse we lost, but the most probable was that he wouldn't find it. Afterwards, he'd go to town and bring as much as he could carry. He tore his clothes and soiled his shoulders, chest, waist, and knees, the idea being that whoever looked at him didn't mind him nor examine his fine garments up close. Of course, I asked him if I could go with him. He didn't answer with words. He did so with his eyes as he gazed tenderly into mine. He did so by taking my hands between his and gently kissing me on the cheek. He said he'd be back soon. It's after 4 and we haven't heard from him yet. I don't want to express my fear, not even on these pages. I know he is fine. I know it won't take long for him to return to my side. Dad also said he'd go with him, but we all know he can't walk. His foot is still very swollen, and although he tries to hide his winces, we know how acute his pain is. Federico asked him not to worry, to leave the responsibility in his hands. He told him to rest, but despite objections from Mom and me, Dad has been very active. He took the shovel that was on the stairway's corridor and is digging a grave for that thing we found. He says it's our Catholic duty to give a proper burial to such a miserable creature. The kids have been quite tranquil. They seem too quiet, and that worries Mom and me. But we will soon carry on with our journey and they will get their joy back. That's the way it has to be. That's the way it will be, I am sure. God, I keep hearing how Dad digs. He does it silently because he cannot move quickly or nimbly, but the sound echoes in my ears. I wish he stayed away from that thing, that he remained close to Mom and my little brothers and me. But I suppose the work helps him keep his thoughts away from what's happening out there, from the sudden change we are forced to take in our lives. I just want this to end. The only thing I want is that Federico returns, that he holds me in his arms and tells me that everything will be all right and that we leave this place. I want us to go back on the road. I want us to move on with our lives and forget everything that has happened to us. Later. Even though we knew it was him, the knocking on the door startled us. Federico, just as I thought, did the best of jobs. From home, he brought clothes, some candelabra and candles, food and water. He loaded everything on a carriage he got at an acquaintance's house. When I asked him from whose, he prevaricated. He also refrained from answering many of my questions about the situation outdoors. I guess he doesn't want to worry me, but it's a little late for that. Even though it's small, the carriage didn't fit through the house's door. Federico left it as close as he could to the exit, hidden under some bushes. Everyone except Dad ate at the dining room. We could see the food thanks to the candles Federico procured. He thought of everything. He's an angel. We left something for tomorrow's trip. At last, we will go out in search of new horizons, and that makes me somewhat happy. We left our belongings by the door. We are now preparing to sleep, again at the dining room. I guess I have to write about what happened before and after dinner. I asked Federico to speak with Dad, to make him come to his senses and stop digging. I am worried about his obsession, that he didn't even stop to eat. It's as if the only thing that mattered in his life was to bury that horrible thing. Federico humored me. I couldn't listen much of their conversation, for they spoke in low voice. But I know Dad told him the same thing he told us, that it is our Catholic duty to give a proper burial to that miserable being. A proper burial. God, I feel that not only do I not want to bury it, but that I hate that thing. It makes me sick, obviously, but there's something else, something that fills me with fright. I came closer when Dad and Federico sat that thing, placing it against the sink. Federico took the shovel from its lower end, its sharp end. I asked them what they were doing. Dad answered that we couldn't leave the body like that, not with so many stitches, not like a sack of bones instead of a man's body. He repeated that it was our Catholic duty to respect the dead, to honor them. Federico put his hand on that thing's grotesque head. He took the shovel to its face, to its mouth. Surely its neck was rotten. As soon as Federico cut the seams of its mouth and stopped holding it, its head fell backwards, tenuously hanging by the decrepit strips of flesh of that disgusting neck. The air rushed into the body, and for a fleeting moment I thought that that thing inhaled, anxious to get the oxygen that had been prohibited to it for so long. We could almost hear the gusts go from its mouth, all through its trachea to its lungs, or what remained of them. Maybe its need of air was such that it didn't only fill them, but also its stomach and every other one of its organs. In the end, the air had to come out another way. It was an awkward sound, like a flatus from that thing, as if the air it had consumed had come out as gas. The mood got tense for a moment, and the only thing Dad and Federico could do was laugh. I think it was nervous laughter, and I guess there wasn't enough amusement for me, but at least the fact that we are leaving early tomorrow relaxes me. When they calmed down, Dad insisted on finishing what he had started and buried that thing. Federico told him they had done more than enough for that poor soul and that we all had to get some rest for the next day's journey. Begrudgingly, Dad agreed to eat something and go to sleep. I am tired, and I'm not sure why I keep writing on this diary. I think I also need to keep myself busy so that I don't drown in my thoughts. My eyes tear. They must be so red. Tomorrow is going to be a good day. It has to be. We are leaving tomorrow, and this bad dream, this nightmare, must end soon. Wednesday, October 25th, 1911. We must have overslept. Dad woke up Federico and me first. He thanked Federico For a moment, I thought I was still dreaming. It was so strange. We had no clue what he was talking about. We stretched, got up, and prepared to have breakfast. We discovered the food wasn't where we had left it. We woke up Mom, but let my little brothers keep sleeping. All this must be incredibly tough on them. We searched again among the cloths and clothes and the other things that Federico salvaged. Nothing. The food and the water were gone without a trail. We went into that awful patio and understood what that meant. The corpse was nowhere to be seen, and the dirt that had been dug out was back in the hole. Dad must have thought it was Federico's doing, that he finished what he had started last night, sacrificing his sleep for his cause. But I didn't feel Federico stop holding me in the whole night, and no candle is shorter than when we blew them out yesterday. More than before, the feeling of being in a haunted place took a hold of my senses, and I couldn't help but moan in revulsion and close my eyes. God, how I hate this horrible, horrible house. We decided to leave. It was the only thing we could do, or at least so we thought. We soon found out how wrong we were. The door didn't open. It didn't budge an iota, no matter how hard we pushed or pulled on it. And it was because something was covering the door. Something still does. It looks like wax, some kind of vermilion resin. Its texture is decidedly weird, different than any other wood or coating or whatever that I know. And its hardness is incredible. Federico took the pick we found and tried to smash the door open. He barely managed to scratch it a bit. We hit it all day long, but the door didn't budge. It's incredible. Now that it's night again, I can notice things I didn't before. That's the way the mind works. It does, even when you don't realize it, always looking for explanations to any mystery in which it is involved and solutions to all its problems. And the main problem that I find at this moment is that I can hear nothing. No external noise disturbs the prison in which we are in. I hear no footsteps, I hear no voices, I hear no carriages nor animals. Truthfully, it's as if life outside our little cage had ended. And since we're trapped, that means nobody will come to rescue us. If we are not hearing the people outside won't hear us either. After hours with the pick and the shovel, I don't know how much we've really debilitated that vermilion wax. I don't know how long until we break it enough to get out of here. Now, we are all tired. Mom doesn't say it, but she's very worried about the kids. I am worried about them too. If they barely moved before, they move even less now that there's no food. We have to get out of here. Federico is still hitting the door, albeit not with the same intensity with which he began in the morning. That has helped him, but his foot still bothers him. It hurts whenever he leans too much on it. I took a few turns as well, so that the door didn't stop being hit even for a second. But we all are very tired. I don't want us to stop working with the pick and the shovel on the door, but I don't want exhaustion to finish with us either. Besides, we need to take care of the candles. We must save the few resources we have. Tomorrow we'll manage to remove enough wax from the door. I must believe that with all my might. God, I want to get out of here. I want to escape and never come back. Thursday, October 26th, 1911. Today's will be a quick note. This morning, I noticed the light looked different. It filtered through the cracks on the walls, but it was opaque, as if it was going through a tinted glass. I can't remember if it was like that yesterday. I think that the same thing that covers the door is covering those cracks from the outside. Maybe even the whole house. That must be why no external noise can be heard. Well, it's nothing but a supposition. The door still doesn't give way. I hope it's not just a figment of my imagination, but I thought I could move it a little. It's better than yesterday when it wouldn't move a centimeter. We've taken the legs from the table we found in the dining room. Dad and Federico are using them as frail mallets while Mom and I use the pick and shovel. Truth is, they are hitting the door more with their fists than with that rotten wood. I'd give anything to spare them that pain, to spare us all. I can't help but feel that our work is foolish, sterile, and that it's leading us nowhere. It must be because we're not going as fast as I'd like. Nobody has said they're afraid or hungry, but we all are, especially the kids. They need to get out of here as soon as possible. I have to go back to hitting the door. Later, the door moved more after the day's work. In fact, I could almost see the other side, out of the house. Still, today is another day that we fail in getting out of here. It's night, and the candles have not much life left in them. Life. I feel that. No, we have to get out of here. We will get out of here. We cannot stay forever trapped in this old house. On a few minutes break, while we were waiting for our arm muscles to recover some energy, I said that we maybe should have explored the top floor, that we could have found a way out from there. The idea didn't convince anyone, but Federico agreed to go up and explore. Regrettably, our fears became true, and the reason why we hadn't adventured upstairs took hold. While on the fifth step, the wood gave in. Federico hit hard his legs, arms, stomach, everything. With his fall, he finished destroying the stairwell. If it seemed very hard to go up before, it seems completely impossible now. After helping him up, Dad told Federico that he'd help him reach the top floor, that he'd push him from where we are, thus neglecting the need of the stairwell. Federico refused and said we should all go back to hitting the door. God, I felt so dumb. He's right. We should be focused on the door and nothing else. Darkness is here, and we won't be able to do much more until tomorrow. Maybe we should have kept going until the candles burned completely, but we are so exhausted. I don't want to endure anymore. I don't want us to endure any more time on this place. Saturday, October 28th, 1911. I don't feel like doing anything. Sunlight is scarce, there are no more candles, and I have no more tears. These last 2 days have been the most terrible in my life. I don't know why I'm about to write about them. Honestly, I don't want to do it. I've read the diary, gone through this last week in my head so many times. I don't want to keep on doing it, but I cannot stop regretting it all. God, I don't want anything anymore. I just want to stop suffering. My little brothers stopped suffering yesterday morning. They died. My heart still aches when I remember them, when I write about their passing. Yesterday morning, they just didn't wake up. Their sleep became eternal sometime in the night. Mom was completely destroyed. She didn't want to accept it, and she kicked and screamed. She begged for it not to be true while she prayed for help, but no one listened. The door still doesn't give way. In fact, yesterday morning we found a fresh layer of vermilion wax on it. A brand new layer of vermilion wax. Mom hit it with a force I never knew she had, but it was not enough. Nothing is enough to escape. Not her hits, not ours. And then her heart couldn't take anymore. The loss was too harsh and she couldn't resist. As if on a trance, she fainted and fell inert to the floor. She breathed for a few hours, but we could never wake her up. Come nightfall, she died too. We were completely beaten yesterday. We lost. We gave up all our will to go on. Besides, without water and without food, we decided that our fate is sealed. I know now that we won't get out of this house. Dad got up early. I think he didn't sleep. His contorted face tells me he won't last long. God, I hate to write this with such naturalness, as if nothing had passed, as if nothing has happened. I hate this resignation, but the environment chokes me, forces me to think that I cannot feel a different way. Dad got up early with the first rays of sunlight to dig. He wants to give my mom and little brothers a dignified burial, as if there was dignity in dying in this horrid and cursed place. He digs, but he does so away from the patio, as far away as he can from it, in what once was a dining room. I'm still by the door, but I don't hit it. I limit myself to write without knowing why. The sound of the shovel angers me, but, of course, everything angers me right now. Maybe that's why I'm writing. I really don't know, or even if I want to know. Federico is asleep. His chest barely moves, but he still breathes. He won't last long either. I write down that phrase and try to keep crying, but I can't. I'm tired, and I think that if I close my eyes, I won't open them again. Sure enough, that wouldn't be so bad. Any type of rest is welcome at this moment. Sunday, October 29th, 1911. I think I'm dead. I can't be sure. A part of me expected the sound of the shovel to wake me up. I think I even wanted it to, but a stony silence surrounds this cursed haunted house. The bodies of my mom and little brothers are gone. They must already be below ground. Dad did the best he could with his remaining strength, but they are still resting on shallow graves. Dad and Federico, I don't know if they are only asleep, as exhausted as anyone can be. It's the same uncertainty that doesn't allow me to think if I'm still alive. I can feel my hands, my legs, my face, but I feel strange. It must be the dizziness that comes before fainting, before death. I'm sure there won't be a grave for me. There will be no one here to dig it, and that gives me a measure of pleasure. Even though I'd like to rest for eternity beside my mother and my little brothers, I'd hate to be under the same ground as that cadaver we found here. I don't know what time it is. Every part of my body aches. I've been trying to think for hours. God, there are so many things flying in my head, fleeting questionings of everything that has brought us to this point. Why have I already given up? Is it because we've lost too much? Because my vitality is gone? Or is there some invisible force that robs me of my energy and keeps me lethargic, docile? I stop writing and my mind gets lost. And when I reread the questions I cannot answer, my head punishes me with renewed pain. I guess that at last, this is goodbye. I see Dad and Federico curled up on the floor with no energy to go on, without desire. If they are asleep, I hope they don't have to wake up again. If they are already dead, I am about to catch up with them. Goodbye. Monday, October 30th, 1911. If this is death, I've arrived at hell. I laughed when I woke up. I hadn't done so since before we arrived here. And when I woke up, I did it without really meaning it. I guess my body couldn't figure out what else to do because I have a horrible feeling lodged in my stomach, and I think that nervous laughter was an ill-fated attempt to get it out. I can still feel my body, my skin, my bones, but I've come to realize that I cannot trust my senses. I woke up and found myself alone in the house that torments me even in my nightmares. Dad and Federico are simply gone. I searched for them, and it didn't take me long because there's nowhere to hide in this place. They are in no condition to play such a tasteless joke on me, to hide on the top floor. That could have pushed Federico, but it would have been impossible for him to climb up, with his foot still swollen and his robust body. I tried to scream, and even though I managed to raise my voice more than I expected, only the echo answered. Derision after derision. This must be hell. Either way, I have come to the conclusion that I have to explore upstairs. With much effort, I have dragged the rotten table, the one that has no legs and is nothing but a wooden plank, all the way to the stairwell. I may be able to use it as a ramp. And if my plan doesn't work, what's the worst that could happen? The wood would break, I'd fall, I'd break my neck, and my suffering would end. That, assuming I'm not actually dead. God, never before had I felt so alone, so damned. The time has come, so be it. Let what has to be. Later. Night approaches rapidly, and after not being able to do it for days, I've cried again. The tears must be coming from my soul. My heart aches once more. After sleeping several times, I finally reached the upper floor. I found something really terrible. The lifeless bodies of the people I've loved the most. I didn't want to write that down. Those words harm me, cut me as if they were blades of fire. Mom, Dad, my little brothers, and Federico. Their bodies are stacked in a corner, displayed as dolls. I've been frightful since I found them, but the surprise I felt was just momentary. In front of them, no more than a couple of meters away, as if watching them, guarding them, that rotten cadaver was idly sitting. It took me some time to muster the necessary courage to touch that thing, to get it away from my family. I think I feel disgusted of my hands now, just because they touched that filthy thing. I guess I should see the positive side of that, since I can now touch that thing as much as necessary. I have to. My salvation depends on it. Well, to talk about salvation is somewhat premature, but I may have found the way out of this cursed place. On that thing's mouth, leaking from its commissures, I've discovered remnants of a vermilion liquid. I touched it without wanting to, by mistake, the first time. It hardened swiftly over two of my fingertips, sticking them. Now that it is late, I understand why all of that damn thing's orifices were sewn shut. The thread and needles were still in Mom's apron. Without wasting time, I sealed all of the cadaver's orifices. The eyes, the mouth, the ears, its nostrils, its anus. I only found vestiges of its sex, but I made sure to reinforce what's left of its body with new thread. I don't like writing all of this with such detail. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but I must. Otherwise, I think I'd go math. The last thing I did before writing this was dig up the patio. I found our food and water hidden in the grave Dad had made for that thing. In the other one, where Mom and my little brother should have been, I found nothing. I didn't need much. There was not much left anyway. What I salvaged will not last, so I have to hurry. Without that thing coating the door with its disgusting wax, I may be able to open it at last. There's not enough light now, but tomorrow I'll work until my strength fails. God, tomorrow I have to escape from here. Tuesday, October 31st, 1911. I've worked a lot and the sun is hiding again. I'd give anything for a candlelight that let me keep working, but I guess I do need rest. Despite trying to limit myself, I've finished with the few supplies that remained. But I think I will finally wear out enough of that wax. I have to work harder tomorrow. Wednesday, November 1st, 1911. It's impossible. The coating on the door is not only renewed but harder than ever. It's impossible, and it's a very cruel joke. I must have left one of that damn thing's orifices uncovered. I should have pushed it downstairs, far away from my family. I guess I couldn't think of anything other than escaping from this place. I'll go up, sew that cadaver up in each and every centimeter of its body, and go work on the door. Later. I've cried again. I discovered why that thing only covered the exit, why it did that and nothing else. It kept quiet because the one thing it wanted was that we succumbed as naturally as possible within this haunted place. There would be no alarm that way. That way, nobody would realize the terrible destiny that awaited at the time of our deaths. The unholy cadaver was sitting there, in the same position I had found it a couple of days ago, with no stitches over its body. And the ones that released it from its prison, the ones that unbound it, were my beloved ones. Mom, Dad, Federico, even my little brothers, they were all smiling macabrely and had traces of that vermilion substance on their commissures. The only thing that occurs to me is that they've become like that dreadful thing, fiends possessed by some unnatural unlife. God, why has all of this happened? When did we make the gravest mistake? When did we sin so much that there's no salvation for us? I used different needles and different spools of thread too, but that doesn't erase the fact that I had to sew each and every orifice of each and every member of my family. They are sacks of meat now, same as that damned demon, condemned to host the worst of curses within them. I'm very tired and very hungry. I won't be able to go up again, so I did throw everybody downstairs now. Everybody. If I left any orifice uncovered and they go back up while I sleep, I won't be able to stop them. I'm not thinking about escaping. The only thing I want is that they don't escape, that they don't walk this earth as unholy beings. Time will tell. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow. Thursday, November 2nd, 1911. I've been working hard all day hitting the door, trying to get rid of that coating just enough to be able to escape. All bodies have remained immobile, but my strength is coming to an end. Also, an idea has been fluttering inside my head. It's a bad feeling, a warning of sorts. If I open this door, Wouldn't I be freeing that thing, allowing it to turn more people into monsters like it? We found it here, but could it be tricking me? Is it faking that I defeated it just to get out of here? The idea is in my head, lodged in the back of my brain, but I consciously doubt it because with me dead, that thing could do whatever it wanted. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this situation, nor why I can't shake this feeling. I don't even know why I keep writing on this stupid diary. I have to focus. I have to keep hitting the door. Later, a new doubt has struck me. It's made me feel afraid once more. Wouldn't I be already contaminated? When I die, here and now, or far away from this house and in many years, will I turn into an unholy thing like my family? Am I already possessed and I just don't know it? I have no answer for that. Only a fear that sends shivers down my spine whenever I remember it. The coating on the door is yielding, but not as fast as I'd wish. The sun is going down again. Another day locked up in this place. Will tomorrow keep bringing me despair? I can't think anymore. I don't want to. I'm going to sleep. Wednesday, November 3rd, 1911. I couldn't sleep, or at least I couldn't rest last night. I don't know if they were nightmares or real shadows, but they were dancing in the dark, mocking me. My head aches. My whole body aches. Today, again, I don't want to move. This time it's because my body finally reached its limit. I feel sick. I can notice how death is filling me more and more. It's not as cold as I thought, and it only causes me a special, unique numbness. The last one anyone will ever feel. I try to keep hitting the door, but I can't anymore. I'm too hungry and too thirsty. My vision clouds with every passing second, and I can no longer feel several parts of my body. I'm dying, and I will do so in this horrible house. I leave this written down as a warning. I leave it for anyone unlucky enough to enter this place, so they know they must escape as soon as possible before having to face the alternative. I've sewn my ears and my mouth shut, one of my eyes and every orifice except my nose. It was quite painful, even with my diminished sensitivity. When I sew my other eye, I won't be able to write. After that, I'll have little time to sew my nose before I die of asphyxiation. I only hope I have enough strength to finish this tortuous path. That, and that I left no orifice open, not in my body nor in another one's, so that this house and the fiend that lives in it never possess another person. And if someone discovers this, the diary next to my body, let them know what they have to do, and may God indeed have mercy on their souls. I will see you when I see you.